Hi, I'm Dr. Elliot Adam from ElliotOracle.com, and I'm also the author of Fearless Tarot, How to Give a Positive Reading in Any Situation, that is due out this year from Llewellyn. It's also available for pre-order, so I'm super excited about that, so you'll want to check that out. It is time for this week's Oracle Reveal. So earlier today on Instagram, I placed up a photo of 3 different animals, and the animals were the deer, the otter, and the skunk. And I asked you to use your intuition and ask yourself which animal was calling to you. And so if you're just joining us right now, just ask yourself really quickly, which animal's getting stuck in your head? Is it the deer, is it the otter, or is it the skunk? Because that message is going to be for you from that animal. For the people who pick deer, deer is an archetype of gentleness, and sometimes the deer is telling you to be gentle at this time. So if you're attracted to deer, it might be a time where you don't want to push ahead too hard, but you want to take that gentle approach. It's also important to be gentle with yourself, and it's also important to be kind at this time. So this is just saying to embody some loving energy. The first card is where it's best to place your focus this week for the deer people, and that's on judgment. And whenever we see judgment, it shows all the dead are rising out of their graves, and this angel's blowing a trumpet. And what that is a symbol for is that right now the dead parts of yourself are starting to stir back to life again. This could be a time where you're feeling revitalized or renewed, especially after a period that felt like a loss. And so this is an important time to just stir your spirit up again and reawaken and get excited about new life entering. Also, the Judgment card is just saying that it's a time to sort of be like the phoenix and rise out of the ashes again. So this is just a good time for you to invest in something that might have been neglected for a while, or take something off the shelf that you have been neglecting as far as projects are concerned, or as far as something with self-care is concerned, and really make sure that you're giving that some tender loving care this week. The next card for deer people is advice from your inner wisdom. And here we get this first crescent moon that is waxing. And in this new deck that I'm using, it's called the Pagan Other Worlds Tarot. It's got these different moon phases on it. And so let's just see what is beginning right now, what's waxing, what's coming into a sense of culmination right now for you. And just getting it started. Oh, we got strength. Wow, that's really cool. So 2 major arcana cards here. And when we see strength, it's indicating that what you're starting to renew or just starting to build on or grow, as that moon phase is showing, is your sense of control and strength and empowerment. The woman on this card is a representation for your higher self, and the bear in this card is a representation for things that feel unruly or bigger than you. And you can see the woman is gently taming the bear. And so this is going to be a time when you're kind of reining things in that might have felt out of control. And this could just be a wonderful time to let your strength feel reborn at this time, especially when we see that Judgment card. So do anything for self-improvement or self-care at this time. And then finally, we got a mythic archetype for the deer people that's going to help them during this next week. And here we get the goddess of the crossroads, Hecate. And when we see Hecate, she usually indicates that you're at a juncture of making a choice, that you're just about to cross a threshold. Hecate was also the goddess of magic in ancient Greek myth. And so this could be a time where really magical things are starting to happen. It's rather exciting, but it does indicate that you're going to have to pick a path, that the road is going to fork really soon, and a decision needs to be made. And when we see strength and judgment, it says to make the decision that is going to build on your strength, and that's going to empower you at this time, and that's going to allow you to feel reborn or renewed. So that is going to be the message for the deer people. Pretty powerful stuff. The next animal that we're going to go over is the otter. And otter is known for its feminine energy, its playfulness, its flexibility. And so if you're attracted to otter, also the element of water might be really playing a big role, where it's important to tune into your feelings, your intuition, and also just go with the flow. The first card for otter is where it's best to place your focus this week. And here we get temperance. And when we see the angel of temperance, she's pouring 1 full cup of water into an empty cup of water. And that's indicating a replenishment of yourself at this time. Whatever feels empty or neglected, it's important to replenish that. Also, the element of water really features prominently in the Temperance card. So a lot of healing can happen for you through water, either being around a body of water or also just drinking more water. or also just tuning into the symbolic elements of the element of water, which is your feelings and your emotions. This is a really good time for healing and moderation and just balancing things. It's a very gentle card. And so nothing should be forced this week. It's best to place your focus on finding a balance and finding that sort of oasis right now in your life that's going to help you recenter and get calm. The advice from your inner wisdom for the Otter people is the Six of Cups. And the Six of Cups is always associated with the past in the tarot. And so this could be an important time to really look for what's bringing you happiness in the future by actually getting clues from the past. Whenever I see the Six of Cups, it reminds me that your happiness is in the last place that you left it. And so if you're looking for what is going to make me happy, what is it that's really going to bring me joy or fulfillment, it's important to review your life and look back at a time when you were happiest. And when we see the Six of Cups, another watery card next to that Temperance card, it could be a time to really replenish yourself with something from the past that's been neglected or running on empty. So it's time to refill something from the past. That's actually going to really lead you to a road in a way forward at this time. It's going to help you surrender and heal and move forward. Six of Cups is also a card sometimes of gently letting go of some of the past as well. So this could be a time to just make a decision, go with the flow, and move on. Also for the Otter people, we have the mythic archetype that's going to be helping you this week. And we got the goat goddess, Amalthea. She is the goddess who nurtured Zeus when he was put into hiding. Whenever we see Amalthea, she's indicating that it is important to nurture and protect something at this time. Something that's just being born. It's a really gentle card. Amalthea is a really gentle goddess. And especially when we see that Temperance card there too, something's kind of in its infancy, something still needs to be protected. There's a tenderness about this kind of archetype, especially when I see it next to the Six of Cups, which has to do with the past and memory and children. This could just be a really important time to take care of yourself or nurture something from the past. So that is the message for the Otter people. And then finally, we have the people who pick Skunk. And whenever we're introduced to Skunk, it's important to really command your respect at this time through your body language, through how you're carrying yourself. Every other animal respects the skunk. They don't want to walk away from an encounter with him smelling bad. And so it's important that you really walk your talk and honor your right to be and really walk with your head held high this next week. Advice from, or where it's best to place your focus this next week is the Page of Swords. And the Page of Swords is a little bit of a defensive figure in the tarot. He's got that sword upraised, and he can sometimes indicate that it's time to lower unnecessary defenses or things that are just kind of keeping you on guard at this time. Whenever we see the Page of Swords, it's telling you as well to watch out for other individuals at this time who are just on the defense. Whenever I see the Page of Swords, I think of those people who say, I don't have the problem, you have the problem. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm the one who's totally fine here. And it's important when you're encountering someone like that to realize that they're actually really maybe not developed enough mentally or emotionally, or they don't have enough tools in their kit to really realize that there are some vulnerabilities there that they do need to work on. And so it's important not to engage in a battle of words with the Page of Swords because you'll never win, you'll never convince them. And so it's important to just, walk away and pick your battles carefully. And also just be careful if you are a little too defensive at this time as well. Advice from your inner wisdom is the Two of Swords, which is a card of in between. So for the Skunk people, this could be a time where you're kind of not in your old way of life anymore and you're not in your new way of life. You can see that crescent moon again, which is in between the new moon and the full moon. And so this could be a time where you're phasing out of one thing and moving into another. It could also be a time when you're phasing out of feeling defensive at this time. And then now you're starting to let yourself be more vulnerable, more open. And the Two of Swords could just indicate that it's important to surrender to being open at this time. And finally, the mythic archetype for the Skunk people that's going to be helping them is actually Cassandra. And she's the prophetess who was a wonderful oracle and was very accurate, but she was cursed so that no one believed what she had to say. And when I see Cassandra with that Page of Swords, it could indicate that you're trying to give a message to somebody and they're just not believing it. They're not being persuaded. And it's important to realize that you're not crazy, you're not the one with the problem, it's actually this other individual. So just be a little bit on guard for people with wounded egos. I do hope you enjoyed this reading this week, and if you did, check me out at elliotoracle.com. Otherwise, I hope you all have a wonderful week and take care.